Oh, waiting on that. Waiting on Jay. Let's get this going and make sure everything's working. In the meantime, okay. Hi, a couple people's already in. Let's tweet a couple things. Just pulling up everything. Of course, I was almost prepared, as prepared as prepared as you'd expect. Let's go with that. Matt just said having internet issues. All right, we're off to a great start. I mean, this is 2024, new year. Matt, internet issues, not me. I like it. You know, it definitely adds a little bit more. Jay was fixing things. Things were breaking because a lot of players are not playing or maybe playing. Tampa Bay's defense is an absolute catastrophe. There's a lot of interesting spots on this slate. There's only 2 early games, so we're not gonna be, we have an hour till puck drop in probably one of the worst. I think it is the lowest total. Lowest total on the slate is dropping shortly, so it's whatever, right? Probably the worst game to really get too crazy on. What I was actually doing right now is pulling up the DraftKings DFS slate. I hadn't looked at what they were doing yet. Yeah, 2 early, 10 late. I mean, we're not going to really focus on the 2 early slate. Like, I don't know. It's 2-6 totals. Who really cares? I have put Colorado in the background though. The Paul Kariya jersey need to come out and get some light. I do love that jersey. At one point, I actually had someone that wanted to buy it, and didn't want to sell it. So I was like, I don't know, 350, and they told me to like fuck off. And I don't want to sell it. Like, I don't know. I like this ball. It's an authentic CCM Paul Kariya. And then I bought this Jake Gensel here. He helped me win Best Puck last year, and it was on sale. So that's what I'm rocking with today. Keep the jersey stuff going. Threw on this music poster, another new one. As I wait for Internet Boy and Model Boy to get in here, I'm going to give it like 1 more minute, and then I'm just going to start rolling through stuff. I don't know. I think this is when I say like, comment, and subscribe, but you can do whatever you want. It's your life. There's no need to do things you don't want to do if you don't want to. I'll wait for Matt to get here. We were going to try to do the whole podcast spiel so we can make money on this stream, when we say all the stuff about DraftKings.com, which I'm sure you're signed up for. And we told them countless times that we're like, hey, it'd be great. Give us a deposit bonus, because we have a lot of people that already have money on there. We have people that spend quite a bit of money actually on DraftKings. There's really no need for us to give them a $10 free bet for signing up, because they're on there. And they're like, oh, no, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, no, we're saying like, if that's what we would like to give. Like if we could say, hey, why don't you jump in? Okay, so first question while I'm here. Actually, I was gonna do it. And by the time I had already heard that Pete was unable to take any more requests, I don't know if he's back to open again, but I never sent him one. I don't even think I'm friends with him. I would have to like figure it all out. I was gonna do it eventually just for fun. I know I did it last year. I sent him and Matic one. We did just get Matt. Matt, did you send a request to Pete for cash game?
I did not. Does he have money on his account?
I don't know. That's what I was just saying. I don't know. I was actually just listening to Lowell's before I jumped in. Yeah, but funny stuff. That's completely unsurprising garbage, to be honest. But again, like I was saying, I wish we could help our deposit kings and queens get more money in and give them that promo. But right now we only have one promo. Okay. Did you want to do the thing? I put the thing in the thing.
I don't know what you mean by that, but he's not really do an ad deposit king if he. Well, yeah, we wait. I thought we had like an overlay and everything.
I put Is that not true? Up. Is that what you wanted? Do you see the picture? What do you want?
You sent me a picture.
What do you want?
The thing.
It's on the screen right now.
Okay, DJ. You got an email. You got a sponsorship. Okay, if the DraftKings logo is not on the thing, it's not a sponsored stream by DraftKings. We have an email where they tell you, here's the things to do when you do a live stream if you want basically us for it.
Okay.
So next time, I guess.
I was supposed to sign in with their email?
Shit. No, you don't need to do that. It's literally just the overlay. Okay, anyway. Not
if
important.
You give me 17 seconds. Can you talk? I'll fix this. I got it.
Yes,
Give me
I
like
can
25 seconds and I'll get this.
It is interesting that he is the deposit king, but you know, I before have had to upload my, whatever proof of income, blah blah blah, to get like a, whatever the max deposit is over on DraftKings. So, how can you be the deposit king but not reach the highest levels of deposit? Like that's a little iffy to me. So, when he says he's the cash game king, well, maybe he's just a second tier cash game player, and so us third tier cash players who have never played a game of cash in their lives in NFL can take his money. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, fun morning here. I'm literally connected to the internet through my phone, which I still think is better than DJ's base internet. But yeah, I had to power cycle the router and everything. So real fun times waking up to no internet. It was like, oh, okay. Gotta get on that. So I'll probably drop at some point during this to try and reset my connection and everything. But we've got 12 games on the docket here. We got a nice DM from Wookie earlier saying we could juice his stuff. And, so I assume Jay's coming, right, DJ?
Yeah. Yeah, he said Tampa Bay was breaking things. So he was fixing it.
Tampa Bay was breaking things. Yeah.
Like they just get a bunch of call-ups and send downs. Yo,
Yeah,
where
okay.
is the actual picture? Why am I stupid? Like I looked through everything. There's no picture. It says use this link to promote. Okay, I did that. I put it right on there. Use the stream, and then it says, oh my god, I'm so stupid. It honestly hurts my head. It says tag DraftKings. I didn't do that. Add DraftKings logo promo code to your live. Okay. I could just make that in 14 seconds. I'm just going to make that.
Yes. Oh, there's a.
You look horrendous. Can anyone please comment if Matt looks like he is a cyborg character or if it's me and his internet combining to make this an absolute nightmare?
I thought it was okay. One of my cats was off the exercise, like hanging on and swatting at the other cat. That's for my morning set. But yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to show off the USA logo. Did you watch, right? Yeah, no, man, yeah. I'm telling you, it is you. I feel like there's no way. I mean, like it says my internet's very good right now. I have like the stable internet thing. So, and I got everything off of Wi-Fi that's in my house. Yeah, why don't we again, but we could just start kind of talking about some of the games if you want. And then maybe after the 2 games, I'll have the picture up and then we can do the ad thing there. Does that sound fair? I don't know if Matt's even here anymore, honestly. This is going swimmingly. And there's no like instant feedback because if you guys message, it's still delayed to say if that, yeah, Boots is frozen. Okay, well, I got that now. Okay, well, I'm going to talk about the game and make a picture with a freaking code that I'm sure everyone's going to just jump. Where they're like, I finally just got DraftKings for the first time, and I'm going to join. There you are. Okay. I'll come back. Yeah, your thing was completely broken, I guess.
This should be better. I don't know. When you said I looked like shit, I figured you meant because like I'm ugly or something, and I was like, well, I know, but there's nothing I can do about that. But yeah,
I would absolutely.
If the internet was bad, I should be on the normal internet now. I'm not on my phone's internet, so yeah. Hopefully the audio wasn't corrupted either. But all right.
I don't know. It was, from my perspective. Okay. But yeah, you are instant. Like you are crystal now. It is wild. Okay. So yeah, I was pulling up the first game. I was just kind of taking a look at. I'm not going to play the morning slate. I'm not sure if you are for DFS, so you can just give a little perception on that if you want. But I'm very much just going to move on to the 7 p.m. main slate for my DFS purposes. I do think there's some interesting players to look at in the first game. It's not overly enticing from I guess like a the theory of like, is this game going to be a good or bad shot volume game, like probably bad. But I just think Igor Sharangovich at minus 105 over 2.5 is just a little bit too juicy for me not to want to jump on it. So anything on the DFS side of things first, and then anything you want to mention for the betting card for the 1 o'clock game. I believe it's in Philly.
I think we should, I honestly think we should cycle back at the end to some Philly stuff. I assume, maybe we'll go on for too late and we just won't be able to talk about it. But I think we're getting some, maybe we won't get Calgary changes, but, I'm interested to see what transpires from.
Did you freeze again? Okay, no.
Did I?
No, if you did, it was not actually very long. I'm sorry.
Okay. In any case, yeah, I'm sure my internet's going through some absolute hard times right now. So apologies if it is doing bad things. But yeah, the late slate looks pretty fun. I don't really have much to say about the early slate at this point. I had to run some errands this morning. Feeding these cats, requires going to the store, unfortunately. So I was out running around doing some stuff. So I haven't really spent too much time on the early slate, but it seems like, hey, Florida's pretty good, but they don't have Barkov. Presumably Rodriguez is out too. So that's obviously going to change a lot of stuff. So my plan is basically to just leave some openings for Florida, Colorado, in the 4 o'clock window, meaning I don't think there's too much else to say other than Rasmus Anderson, just bet whatever the hell you can. And I think Carter Verhaeghe is still, the guy in Florida. So just do that. If you want some, if you want to make the 12 team parlay or the 12 leg parlay, like we're probably going to, those are the two guys that I'll be using. So whether you pick points or shots, I don't have a strong read at this point, but we can move on to the 7 p.m. window if you want to discuss that.
I was just gonna touch on the first 2 games, and that's a good point about the first one. So, okay, I barely listened to you because I was making this picture, and it's almost done.
Good.
So I will say whatever you say. The main thing I took away from what you said was we're not going to really know what you want from Philly yet. Is that fair?
From Florida, for sure.
You're talking about Florida.
Because the injuries.
Okay.
I think it'll be Reinhardt, Lindell,
Lustermainen.
And that's interesting.
We know no Barkov, but we also know no Erod. You said we know that.
We know Barkov is week to week. Is that not true?
I honestly I've had even looked yet. Mike, I'm trying to make this picture right now. Okay, I'm a real graphic designer.
Well,
if anyone should understand me, Mike, it should be you.
Hopefully, Jay's able to show up soon, and he'll be able to be like, "Hey, you fucking morons!" Yeah, he's just
about to be here. He's just about to be here. He just told me.
Yeah,
I think he actually told both of us, but I don't know if you don't seem to care. I could just find logo.
I'm literally trying to load Occupy Fantasy to update the model, and it's not even loading. So it's a miracle that my internet's working for this live stream. Honestly, we're doing a great job, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I personally know I'm doing a great job. I don't want to speak for you, but I just made what I could only consider to be the perfect picture.
Okay. Mike, it's a picture. It's a picture so we can get paid for doing this. Our pennies on views and whatnot. So we might as well. It adds up over time. We might be able to buy a latte in 2 months.
Yeah, go to Starbags. Okay, wait. What? Can I tell my football thing right now, quick?
Go to who? What now?
Before we get started, before we get Jay, and then my funny football thing. You know it. I don't know why you're acting like you don't know what I'm about to say.
Is it funny?
Yes. You seemed actually interested.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna briefly say that through channels that I will not disclose, someone sent me an image that had Mike Tomlin's phone number on it. And I'm still debating if there's anything I could actually do with that. And obviously, I mean, I don't want to be like a jerk about it. Like my one friend was like, dude, just like if he plays the Browns, call him like 100. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna like make this guy change his freaking phone number. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I did get Mike Tomlin's phone number. I have it. So if you need Mike Tomlin, I'm the only guy that has it. And to make sure that if anyone ever asks me, like if anyone ever says, hey DJ, who's the most popular or famous person in your contacts? I made this picture for our contact that I now have in my phone, which I think is pretty good. That's me and Mike Tomlin, you see. And it's very not Photoshop. That's just me and Mike Tomlin hanging out because we're friends and I have his number. So Jay, thanks for joining right in time to hear me tell that story. But yeah, I wanted to mention my one NFL thing that I had going on in the world.
So is Mike Tomlin the new Jeff Fisher? Just gonna go the equivalent of 9-7 every year?
Not with my help. Once I get on the case, he'll be totally fine. He just needs a couple things, and I've already have some plans on what I might do with this number. I do have plans. I'm not going to disclose any more information at this time, but it's good plans. It's good plans, and if it does somehow work, that would be something. Okay, I changed the logo. And wait, are we gonna do the thing? Do you need it to be an overlay, Matt? I hope not. But I can make it an overlay.
Wait. I don't know the difference. Let's see.
The overlay goes like that. Like if you're gonna like read the script.
Okay. Hey. Wait. So is this going in like a box, or where is it actually? Can it just
it's
like
literally taking up the entire
side
middle of the screen right now?
Yes, I see that. Why is it taking up the entire middle of the screen? Is my question.
I'm asking what you want. Okay, now it's on the side again. I'd say, okay, we should have planned this, and I was going to call you, but then you weren't here, so I was like, all right, what's wrong? All right, we're just going to do this. I don't know what you wanted to do to make it so we got paid for this, but we could just move on.
Whatever.
Are you reading the script or no?
I don't.
Perfect. Okay, let's get to the games. Jay, we very briefly mentioned the first two games, and I think we're both on the same mindset of we have to kind of sit out Florida and the Avalanche until we know what the heck's going on there in totality. Like we know some of the news. Is there anything on the 1 o'clock game, and then we can just get to 7 and we can get this ship right back on track?
Well, it sounds like the Cam Atkinson will be back in, so he's kind of been a candidate for shots overs lately. So with that benching, I'm sure he's going to come out firing. So that's just one thing that's on the top of my mind with Philly.
Yeah, just looking at shots. Slate breaking news. Did we get news on Bedard? Is he on the slate?
He is not.
Okay, you know what? I'm not going to get sidetracked right now. Okay, so yeah, I pulled over Sharon Govich. I think he is over the last 5 games he has 8.4 shot attempts per game. Only under 40% of them are getting on net. So even though he's hitting and getting there over 2.5 because of that volume, he's really not even getting lucky. And they priced him down even more. It's albeit a bad matchup, but as long as he's still on the top line with, I mean, definitely Huber does pass first. I consider Lindholm to, he's definitely shooting more as well, like 5.4 shot attempts per game over the last 5, 70% almost on net. So it's kind of like, okay, there's a little bit of mouths to feed here, but that is clearly their best offensive line right now. And I have no problem going back to the well was my point at -105. And also to pair with that, as I'm saying, that's their best offensive line. Honestly, watching their power play, I was even more inclined to go with Sharon. Am I blind? Where the heck is he? Is he not offered for? Oh, he's on the bottom. I was almost more inclined to go with him for a point than even Lindholm, which I also think is fairly priced. But anything on the Flyers that we want to mention other than Atkinson or for a point or anything else, or is this enough for now? We can move on and we can pick at the end.
That's good enough for now. Flyers are especially not, if Tippett's not on the top line, it's not that fun. So I think Atkinson, like Jay said,
do we know that
bet if you really want a Flyer. They could
gotta
change
do this again
things
because-
given they lost in overtime or was it a shootout to Columbus? But we don't know. So
Yep. Okay. Yep. And then I mentioned this to Matt too, but he was also very much he kind of gave a no. But anything from you, Jay, on the DFS side of things, or are you good for the 2 games?
Nothing at this point.
You know, like again, it's kind of super up in the air right now. You're kind of betting on like, whatever. Okay. Sounds good. This game stinks. I like Sharangovich. We're good. We'll come back to these things. And we'll go over though. I mean, are we anything on the Florida game before we move on? I mean, we just again, not much. There's offerings. Like, I don't know. I guess we could take a second here, but is there anything on this game?
yeah, Bennett's somewhat interesting.
Or are we all
just because you would imagine if Barkov is out, which I'm assuming he's out, that Bennett slots into the power play one. But that's Carter Verhage is still relatively cheap, I think, for his price. So like you might as well. Well, he's minus 152 on puck luck. I believe he's 140-ish on DK. Is that
166?
166.
Montour is the one that
they're finally learning.
I am just absolutely. Yeah, I just keep looking at freaking Montour and just being like, but it's such an amazing price. It's just like 124 on a point. And he's even more integral in that power play now. So the power play should be these 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, these 5. When Bennett went out for a couple of shifts, it was Ekblad, but I think Bennett came back. Yes. We're not worried about Bennett, right? It was like I can't remember. I think he just got cut, right? That's what
I'm not worried about
that's
Bennett,
what we decided.
because there was a lot of hand wringing
yeah.
after the game about like what they're gonna do without Rodriguez and Barkov, and there was none of that same discussion with Bennett. So
he got in like a fight and like skated right off the ice and then came back. Yeah. So I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could be down for a lot of things here. Jay, any thoughts on? I mean, again, it just feels like these prices are wrong, Bob.
Yeah, the one thing is Jonathan Drouin's been kind of ramping up the points with McKinnon. So and getting that power play time, he's just like, it's funny watching that power play because he's in that bumper spot, and as soon as they pass it to him, he like passes it right back to McKinnon, and then it's like, okay, either something happens good off of McKinnon's stick and he gets a point out of it, or whatnot. So, but as far as value, I'm not sure.
I will not have. I definitely understand it. I mean, honestly, it's like being honest, I can get it, but there is no one that could get a 0 and watch his line mates score 3 points each like Jonathan Drouin can. And
I refrain from discussing Jonathan Drouin.
Yeah, about right. I feel like I've never been more right about a take of like fading a player all season long, and then just like in a week wanting to punch a hole in the wall as I watch my best ball shares crumble around the Jonathan Drouin slappies. Yeah, whatever. I get it. It is super enticing. This minus 120 for a point is enticing. I almost think though, just take him for a freaking assist. Like if you're gonna go that far, this guy is not gonna shoot. Like he's gonna have one shot. Is that going in the net? Like just take him plus 154 and like actually have a pair of balls. Like I just don't know. Like you're saying, he
has a better.
It is. I'm trying to think. Go.
Before a couple of games ago, at least when I was looking through this, pre-tilting the slate where Jack, the Occupied Fantasy guy, wound up shipping the qualifier seat. Unbeknownst to me with Jonathan Drouin, I was slandering Drouin in his DMs, and I looked it up, and he has a worse power play shot rate than a 5-on-5 shot rate, and his 5-on-5 shot rate is garbage. So, like, the assist line, like, I can't imagine it's overly different from his point line, but if it is, then that's clearly the way he's gonna get his production. But like Drouin
it's like
such a
70. It's like 70 points of value. It's plus 154.
Yeah, now his goal odds at like plus 550.
Plus 550.
Honestly, I might just bet him for an assist now. Like I feel like this is again the Barry Manilow Family Guy bit. Like I'm like, I hate this guy. I hate him so much. Are we going to see him? No, it's very dumb. But honestly, like This is pretty good. Oh man. Okay. All right. Yeah. I was like, let's not talk about this game. It's stupid. And then we just continued to talk about this game. I'm gonna move Bennett over here too and Montour. I feel like this game could be good for shots. Okay. We're gonna take 9 years though. I really like my goal in this was not to take too long. And here we are. Yeah, 30. I mean Bennett for shots too. That actually might be really interesting. All right, last thing, and then we're moving on. We got to get this show on the road here. Isn't Bennett been shooting a ton without power play? Well, a little bit of power play. Oh, it's still on the screen. Look at this. You guys can follow along. Not really. Okay. For Hagee, Montour, of course. I mean, who else? Oh, I don't know if you guys can see it too well, but that's 6.8 iCourse for game for Montour. 6 for Verhaeghe. No one that's jumping off the page. So I think we don't know the lineup. Are we assuming probably like Bennett, Reinhardt? I truly don't know. Let's just move on.
I wouldn't be surprised if Bennett sticks with Verhaeghe and Tkachuk, and they do something with that first line with Reinhardt and Lundell or something.
I don't even know what it's got to be Lundell. I don't know. I'm not even gonna think. I don't know.
Yeah, Luosterainen is the speculative goal. That's fine, but honestly, I would just wait till warmups, and they're not going to move the line or anything if he's playing with Reinhardt and Lundell. But that line was good last year when it was together.
Mm-hmm.
This is correct. I said I'm not going to talk about these games, but then immediately I saw Brandon Montour plus money for a point and was like,
"Move on, like just do the thing."
I know. I have
the next game.
Tampa Bay at Boston. Boston is much bigger favorites than maybe you'd think at minus 162. Just like not like taking any time into this, but as I was talking about, and YJ was a little bit late to the party. Tampa Bay just is out of defensemen. I mean, they're done. They are making up players now that aren't real. I believe they got scored on by like Zach Bogosian last game. So things could be better. You would okay, my screen just got locked in perpetual nonsense here. So yeah, we'll move over to another site. I don't think it's as far off, obviously, is my point. Like I still don't think Tampa should be this big of underdogs in this game. So I don't hate the idea of taking Tampa at plus 136. I'm guessing that's actually going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to interject and just say that's probably the likely pick of the day is going to be Tampa. I have to update it on the site right now, but that's looking like the favorite right now.
Okay.
We're getting off Florida.
Yeah, I think that's a good straight bet for sure.
Boston has just not been great defensively. Of course, they're getting the goaltending, but it's that's just the story with Boston, and Tampa is capable of putting up 5 on anyone. So I like the Tampa side here. Boston's not been impressive. They're still sticking to Morgan Geekie on the top line, top power play. He's awful. So not really sure where the goals come from. If
no James Van Riemsdyk, if that makes any difference to anyone, but
it only makes a difference to anyone with a brain in their head.
Yeah.
JVR just had 3 points the other night. That line was absolutely dominant. And then one game in between he gets benched. I mean, that is galaxy brain stuff.
Well, he's hurt. He's hurt right now.
I really
think he's dealing with something.
It's got to be that, yeah. I want to take a look at something shot-wise, and Marchand to me makes the most like potential sense just because of the line on him. But I just anyone I look at, I'm just on Florida only right now.
Take a look at Hedman too. Hedman's been really good. We were sort of, I think, anti-Hedman and Sergachev could be the guy. Now we don't know. Obviously, Sergachev. Well, actually, Sergachev. Did he go on IR? He went on IR, didn't he? Yeah. So he's definitely out. But I mean, Hedman has been the guy in Tampa all year long. It really was not the 50-50 split that we saw last year, which makes me think Victor Hedman is healthy. And with all these injuries, he's playing a ton of minutes and he's being really productive. So if I'm going anywhere on the Tampa side, I think Kucherov stuff is just priced out of consideration. I still like him, but Hedman's been honestly similarly excellent, and he's much less likely to, he's much less. I keep saying expensive, but the odds are just far better in your favor for Hedman at 2.5.
And DraftKings finally caught up on the power play points for Hedman, and that was sitting in like the plus 300 range for a long time, and I'm not exactly sure why. Now it's plus 175 today against a very good penalty kill, so I would stay off it.
Yeah.
Hedman
they also
over the
caught
last
up
10
on
has-
my Nick Herbig's.
Block shots. He's going to eat a lot of time today.
Yeah, sorry, Matt. Yeah, I mean, I just think they
I'm-
kind of caught up, though. It was like minus 140, and now it's minus 190. But Matt, sorry.
I can't tell if DJ's on a super delay or something, or if it's me, because I know my internet's been garbage, but it does. Anyway, not important. Victor Hedman over the last 10 has over 6 shot attempts per game. That's obviously very good for anyone, and for a defenseman, that's pretty impressive. So I don't mind anything to do with Hedman, be it shots or be it a base point, power play point. It's been nuked, like Jay said, but that's where I'll be going.
Yeah, and again, like with Hedman and this
like,
defensive situation, like he's just going to be out there all the time. So, I mean, just he could happen to throw 3 on net, no problem today, just with the minutes he's going to eat.
Yeah, man, they really nuked all these Tampa lines, and it's interesting that they're such big underdogs. Yet, like every player's getting a point, Goudreau's getting 2, and it's like, oh yeah, Boston's just going to outscore that problem. I don't know, not with this team. So, I think Hedman point. Honestly, I think if you're taking or Hedman shot, like Hedman point is almost is actually worse price than Tampa plus 1.5. It's like I think I just take Tampa with a goal and a half. I don't know, but I think Hedman for shots. That's probably the best bet in this game.
What about a Marchand?
We can
under?
move on.
Any interest there? Marchand.
Well, yeah, that was the point I was
specifically.
making. Was that because I was going to make the point about how this looks enticing, this 2.5, but he's just simply not shooting. That line is not doing anything, and you can bet him. But again, you can only bet him minus 245 under 1.5. So I don't know. I mean, like, doesn't really make it move for me. Like, I'm just sort of
Value
like,
is
oh,
value,
okay.
but
Yeah,
I
I
get
think
it.
he gets under. Yeah, like sure, right. I agree. Like if you're making your ultra safe, I'm betting, I want to bet 12 things that are the, best, most likely to happen things. Like maybe there's a theory in there you could look into, and that's probably it here, but I don't know. It doesn't really make anything happen for me. Anything, Jay, that you're thinking about Marchand today?
I'm staying off Marchand altogether.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I was like in the middle of a point and Matt cut me off because we're just on a delay. But what's not going to be delayed, I hope, is the game of the night, the Minnesota Wild and the Columbus Blue Jackets. We're all looking forward to seeing Columbus throwback. I don't even know what they're really doing, but they announced it's like throwback to the early 2000s night or something. And they posted the logo that they should be using, which is the CBJ and not this garbage they're used now. I guess, again, I was a little bit surprised to see that Minnesota was only minus 125. Like, not that that's an unbelievable amount of value, but I just thought they'd be bigger favorites here. Injuries have mounted, but Zuccarello's back. I mean, he's off IR, so I assume he's back. I don't think this team is all that terrible, and Columbus will, are they going to outscore their problems here if they get into any sort of issues? I don't think so. So I don't hate the Minnesota side of things. I'm not going crazy on it. And again, I'm never betting anything unless if I go over here and look at the picks and see if it's even on there. So I don't know if Puckluck's even finding this as an edge. No, actually, doesn't hate. So it thinks Columbus could keep it close. Fair enough. I'm just gonna stay off of it then. But something that I could be on is in the Matthew Boldley over 3.5 plus money vein of things. Jay?
Matthew Boldy?
Yeah, and any thoughts on the game in general? You can go over everything, and we're getting lots of favor for culture in the chat. Which yes, if Bedard is out, we're gonna get that donkey train to get right to station. But
it's crazy how he might end up being the favorite after all of that talk. Yeah, I mean that line is what Boldy, Rossi, and Zuccarello, and that's the top line today.
Yeah.
So Boldy's going to be the guy that, Rossi and Zuccarello are feeding. So I do like the shot over in that sense, in theory. Minnesota's just been tough lately because, all the injuries and everything's just kind of been in a blender.
So it is. That's exactly what it was too. Bedard Dyer with a fractured jaw. That's what it looked like. He was just grabbing his face. Well, enjoy it. I can't bet it in New York, so I never really looked too deeply into it. And I saw people that were like getting on the train, and the train has now left the station. I'm guessing already. If it hasn't, I guess if you can go bet on Fave, I don't even know what he was before, but give it a look.
The color's off.
Boldy,
I don't know if it has been off, but I can't bet the Calder. I can only bet the Rocket, the Hart, the Vesna, and the Norris right now. So
well, when the Sabres go on a run,
no instant reaction here. No, but literally that's, I think, more likely than Brock Faber. Faber's not doing enough to sustain like the point production that I think you would need to be in contention. I know he's going to be force-fed power play minutes as long as Spurgeon's out, but he's just been so anti-productive with them. Like, he's not shooting. He's just not really doing much. So, pile on if you want, but you're betting on something we have not seen yet. Jonas Brodin is like the textbook guy who's really good at hockey, but just sucks for, fantasy. And obviously fantasy production bleeds into awards voting. Like, the voters are just not that smart. They're not, going, oh, well, this dude's a gigabrain defensively. Like, that just doesn't happen. So, like, yes, I understand that Brock Faber's really good defensively, but he's not good for fantasy. And I just don't see him going on a run versus, a guy like Levi or, like there's like other dudes out there who can go on runs that really put them into, I guess, being a focal point of the conversation. So, again, we don't have any odds to react to, but I just don't think Faber's that guy until he basically pulls until he pulls a 180 and it's just chucking pucks, being more involved on the power play, things like that, rather than being a deferential character on the ice.
Yeah. Speaking of guys chucking pucks, Matt Boldy, almost 8 shot attempts per game over the last 5, and only 37% of them on net. Interesting. Joel Eriksson, 6.6 shot attempts per game over the last 5, and 76% of them are on net. So, with that being said, again, I still stay with this game in this vacuum, going with Matt Boldy. Brock Faber was under 4 shot attempts per game. That 1.5 might be almost enticing, and I just don't think he's shooting enough, and that just made the case against it. But yeah, I still side with Boldy over Eriksson, especially because I think, the ice time. You could do it. You could put this bet in your slip, and I'm not saying you're wrong to do so. I'm sticking with the plus money, Matt Boldy. I think he's shooting more than anyone else on this team. He's on the line with the most offensive weapons. And if he is losing Joel Eriksson on that line, that's just a guy that is also shooting, but like getting everything on net because that's the player he is. You could go with Eriksson probably. I don't know. I never want to. But I go with any thoughts on Eriksson?
It's fine. It's really just like leaning Boldy's the right way to go, especially if you're throwing in a slip like the one you're creating right now. Before we move on from this game in total, though, I just want to bring up that Justin Danforth has been a steal of a deal every single game this year, just playing with Gaudreau. He's the finisher. He goes to the front of the net. He actually, his shooting percentage is extremely high, but it's because he's in those high danger areas and basically just tapping the puck into the net. And he sits at plus 310 again today, and he's back on that top line after a stint on the fourth line last game. So just him playing with Fantilli and Gaudreau, like there's offense there to be had. Yeah. So Danforth is involved, very involved, and he's willing to shoot and get into the dirty areas. So it's just always a steal to bet his anytime goal.
Okay, Matt, the under on Ryan Hartman for you today as well, or are we done talking about this and we can move on?
It's not a terrible idea. I don't believe we've seen a power play, but we assume Zuccarello steps it back into the top unit. So with Hartman and or with with Kaprizov out, Hartman was on that top unit with Rossi. I don't know who gets axed from the top unit, but that's a perfectly viable way to go, to just say, oh, Hartman doesn't have the same role that he was being priced for. And I just assume that the books aren't pricing these things in. Of course, consult something like puckluck.com if you actually want if you want an actual sort of like tangible, okay, this is what the odds should be. That's not really what I'm like doing, because I can't, but I imagine that if you're trying to bet on rolls, that Hartman changes more appreciably than anyone else in this game because of Matt Zuccarello's return.
Okay. This all sounds to me just perfectly cromulent. Trying to sound smart. I think I almost said the word right. Let's move over to the Rangers and the Canadiens. Yeah, Rangers minus 192. It's a 6 over under. I felt like that was low, but other than Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki, can anyone score on Montreal? The answer is unequivocal no. They have like 3 guys that are better than plus 300 to score here, and like I truly don't think of anyone other than Cole Caulfield as like a guy that scores. Like this team is dusted. I don't know. I almost want to just bet like the Rangers puck line here and move on, because I think Montreal is really, really up the creek without a paddle right now. But what are we thinking anything in particular here? I mean, Lafreniere going into Quebec. I mean, are we just jamming Alexei Lafreniere minus 105 for a point, playing with 2 really good players? I don't know. What are we thinking? Nothing.
Brennan Othmann. That's what we're thinking. He showed up ready to play in his NHL debut. So that's where I'm looking. He's on the DraftKings slate DFS wise. He's plus 370 to score. He's a perfectly speculative play. But he literally showed up and had 8 shot attempts in his first NHL game. We know that the coaches, they want to play their good players on the power play. They're not trying to play guys like, Blake Wheeler and whatnot on the top or on the second power play unit. So I think the role could grow for Hoffman. And the matchup is great. I mean, if he's in the depth roles, I mean, this is the exact spot that I wanted to target with Buffalo on, I think it was Thursday. And Montreal, without these guys, like without Newhook, without Doc, without Dvorak, they're just terrible. I mean, they are like the league's worst team, and they're fine with Nick Suzuki on the ice. Like it's day night with these guys. So yes, you could look toward the second line with Panarin and Trocheck, but I think even the third line is perfectly fine. Othmann plus 370 to score. I like that a decent amount, but I'm more interested in DraftKings, like fantasy wise. 2,500 goes a long way on this slate. So just taking that punt, moving on. I like that.
Yeah, and he's got that shooting mentality, right? He profiles as a shooter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's still on the third line. They just ran skate. So they just should take Blake Wheeler and toss him into the sun, as I say every single time I talk about them. But they won't. So yeah, it could be even better, but I think I'll throw a couple. I think, for my $1 million 12 leg slip, I'll throw in Othmann for a goal. This should profile pretty well for the Rangers to have shots. And I guess you made the case for Othmann already. He's obviously not going to be someone you can bet for shots. So I think I'm going to just look to the points. What is Trocheck before I say? Yeah, I mean, Trocheck minus 190, Lafreniere minus 105. I just don't think there's anything on the shots that are like overly enticing to me. Maybe Trocheck, but if you could get that on underdog, that'd be even better. But yeah, Othmann, 8 shot attempts his first game, and just no one else above 6 is just stinky. But they should be shooting. Okay, we can move on. I just added a few things over here. Anything at Montreal? Anything? I kind of said they're garbage, but no one disagreed. Are they garbage?
Yeah, no. They're garbage. They're going 11-7. Never really loved that lineup from like a fantasy or prop perspective, unless they're really double shifting Cole Caulfield, which I mean, still between Suzuki and Caulfield, that's their entire offense.
Yeah, think in a better matchup, I would just be jamming Cole Caulfield because, like you're saying, they're going 11-7, and that doesn't seemingly affect anyone but Caulfield. He's not even listed for shots. Am I losing my mind? Oh, he's right there. He's right in front of my face. Holy crap. But it's a bad matchup. But plus 14. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a terrible
Good eyes,
matchup.
DJ. Thank you.
Josh Anderson's been really good. He's healthy somehow. We thought his knee was gone, but
I thought it was gone.
You know, he was well enough to play. He was well enough to play against Buffalo. He's been very not productive. Well, actually, he has been actually productive, but he's been doing the stuff underlying and getting the production to go with it, which is rare for Josh Anderson. So if you're willing to bet on that continuing, I think that's a fine, value-ish option for shots and maybe even for a point if you really wanted to get spicy.
Yeah, and the puck luck model agrees 100% with the Josh Anderson stuff. All the underlyings his name just keeps popping up. But again, just the bad matchup, it makes it tough to really pull the trigger on any Canadians today.
Yeah, I wanted to find the tweet right now, but I don't think I'm going to find it quickly enough. But there was this one of those fucking Twitter doctors that had this whole post about how he may have torn all 3 ligaments. I don't know if they actually, yeah. And I was like reading it, and I was like, how? And it's like it's hard to tell between the pads. And I'm like, yeah, what are you talking about? Like, how could you possibly tell? And I just hate those people so much. I think they're absolute garbage, and they should all delete their accounts. Okay, we can move over now off to another good game. I mean, every game's been good. Every game's better than anything else you could possibly be watching on this Saturday. But why don't we move over to a game that really gets things going in the right direction? The battle of the Hughes brothers, all 3 of them, hopefully, although there is reason to believe that Jack Hughes could have sustained an injury last night, I read. But I hadn't heard anything, and I hadn't seen anything, and they played last night. So we might not have confirmation. I guess without confirmation, I'm assuming he's in. But I guess he missed time. And I was watching that game until I left for hockey myself. So were you watching? Did you see anything? Anything with Jack Hughes?
I was watching. I didn't notice the injury live. So that is what it is. But I did see the same things you saw, where it was here's the play where he kind of came up. I think it was a shoulder maybe. But in any case, somehow my internet is so bad, nothing's loading except I'm able to hear you guys perfectly. So I guess my internet knows the important things. But as far as trying to get other information and look at like the hockey viz stuff, no, it's done. Everything's dead in the water. So I'm useless in this regard. But anyway.
Yeah, we're just awaiting, I guess, any reporting on Jack Hughes. It looks like he's going, but I will not admit to watching the game because that would ruin my reputation of being just a stats boy. So.
That's good. That is good. I'm glad you didn't break the code. So if you did watch the game, which I was, like I said, was watching, Jesper Bratt went kind of nuts. He just kept shooting, and it was sort of one of those things where I was like, maybe they should tell him to stop because someone else should be shooting right now, and it's just him.
No, it was just they were leaving him. Like they were literally just like, I mean, it's Chicago, so maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't, but he would just sit there with the puck and just no one would challenge him. And it was just like, okay, I'm going to take a shot from 20 feet away from the goalie now. And they're like, okay. And yeah, he didn't score because he's just bad. But if they were a better team, I would have suggested that it was an intentional play on the part of Chicago. But, I would not necessarily anticipate that going forward into the matchup.
No. The Vancouver goal train has, I don't want to say derailed, and obviously that would be going a little bit far, but I mean, they just look lifeless against the Blues. I don't know if there's any reconfiguration going on maybe or whatever, but again, I pulled up this game and the last 5, it's like nothing jumps off the page. Quinn Hughes is shooting. He's getting a quarter of his shots on net. That seems pretty unsustainable. Like you could narrative bro yourself into that. I'd probably stay away myself at plus 120 on the 2.5. Just again, I know it's a new version of this guy, but historically he's never been a great shooter, et cetera, et cetera. On a back-to-back, I mean, I could see myself just almost fully fading this game, especially in my main prop betting situations. And if I'm going to bet anything, because it is a 6.5, and I get that, I'm going to go to a point and just bet Brock Besser. Like that's, I think, my favorite bet here. But other than that, I might just kind of almost fully fade this game, especially not knowing what's up with Jack Hughes. Like I get to Foley minus 135, but I like Brock Besser more.
Yeah, you know what Vancouver really needs? If only they could find like a very good offensive Russian forward that could really help them. That hasn't been playing recently, and insert him onto the top line with Elias Pettersson and Ilya Mikheyev. That would be nice.
Yeah,
you lost me at the very good part.
They're unable to perform. Okay.
Offensive. I said very good offensively.
Meh.
Yeah, Matt, your internet cut out for one word there.
Do you want his closest comps this year? I could tell you his closest comps are, Johnny Gaudreau, Lucas Raymond, Evgeny Malkin, Nico Rantanen, Leon Draisaitl.
This year's Johnny Gaudreau.
Get the TikTok.
The offensive game is there. He just needs to get in the right footing with the coach.
The problem with Vancouver is that they've not been generating offense all season long, and they've been scoring a ton because they have really gifted playmakers that can make something out of nothing.
Yep.
But when that doesn't happen, things look like they do against St. Louis. So, they're going to be a Jekyll and Hyde team because they're not just going to pound you with volume until, something breaks. Like they're going to dipsy doodle their way to a lot of wins because JT Miller is, in an incredible run all season long. Brock Besser's obviously finishing with the best of them, but Pettersson has no help right now. I mean, yes, that is very, I don't know that Kuzmenko is the answer to these problems, but it certainly isn't Sam Lafferty. So I don't really understand why they were so happy to give up on Anthony Beauvillier. But they did. So clearly something is still a little fishy in Vancouver. I don't know how they fix it, but as long as Brock Besser keeps shooting 25%, they'll be fine. It's just, I don't me and the stats boy probably will agree that this is not something you can bet on for the long term, but for now, it seems to be working.
Well, yeah, and that was what everyone was kind of hollering in the beginning of the season. Like, you can't sustain the shooting percentage and save percentage that they're getting. When everyone's calling them one of the best teams in the NHL, I'm just sitting here like, are they though? Like, let's see what happens, when, January, February comes around and everything starts regressing. So I think we're starting to see a little bit of who they really are. And it really is exposing them.
As far as actual, rather than just complaining about things, the power play without Kuzmenko has included Connor Garland, so it's not been Filip Hronek. Hronek's hung at a minus 125 on the under a point. That's been minus 110 to minus 125 basically all season. And, he was on a really good run, but he's getting a ton of secondaries, and the offense is dried up for him and the Quinn Hughes pairing. So this is a spot where I think you can take the under on Hronek point and feel okay about it. I don't see any Connor Garland point or power play point, but if you wanted to sprinkle some on the shots, he's been shooting a decent clip, for a 1.5 shot line.
Yeah.
And his goal is, his goal is plus 300, which isn't great given his 5-on-5 role, but I certainly prefer shots myself. But in any case, as long as Kuzmenko's out, Garland should be in play. And Hronek unders are always in play in my book. I love Filip Hronek, but he's not an even money to get point type of guy.
Yeah, again, I pull up the hockey biz because if Vancouver is sticking this lineup, it is the Besser Miller Suter line, and everything else was pretty bad. Garland scored, okay, whatever, but every other line was getting bullied, and that JT Miller line was actually producing all of their offense. So again, if they're sticking with it, I would bet through it. New Jersey's still not the best defensively, and without Jack Hughes, they'd only be worse. We remember how they looked last time they didn't have Jack Hughes in the lineup. So with all that being said, I can move on. I do actually really like that Garland take. I think that's a really nice, safe bet. You could take JT Miller for a point. I'd rather take Besser myself at this price, but this Garland thing, I think that's very likely to happen. He is, where is he? About 4 attempts per game. It's not great, but the role's increasing. Let's move on. We are going to get over to everyone's favorite game of the night, the Penguins and the Sabres. We're all counting down the minutes till the Sabres finally get their first back-to-back win, and they're plus 140. And you'd think Vegas would have caught up by now and said, the Sabres haven't gotten a back-to-back win since November, but this is the game, and everyone knows it, especially DJ. It should be at UPL versus Jari. I really do think this is more of an even matchup than the book is telling us, but I don't actually think the Sabres money line is the best bet in this game. So I've brought us over. I've got us moving in the right direction. Jay, do you want to take us home with just the obvious best bet of the night? And I really don't have one in my head right now, so I'll just let you say whatever you want.
I was gonna say, did you have one? If it's that obvious, like I was confused. Well, the one thing that jumps out, it seems like Tage Thompson's back, so it seems like Tage is Tage from last season again. He's starting. I mean, he had 2 goals last game. He's starting to really pick up the pace. His projected goals today is at about like 50-50, whether he'll get a goal or not. And I think on DraftKings he's plus 175. So I mean that's a major edge in its own right. Yeah. It looks like this Thompson Skinner tuck line is kind of returning to form.
Yeah, minus 140 for a point. -1.
There's a lot to like on the Sabres side with props and stuff, but the only thing to keep in mind, Pittsburgh's been very good at reducing shot quality this year, which is kind of surprising if you kind of look at like, oh, they got Erik Karlsson and now they're reducing shot quality, but it is happening. It's making their goalies look really good. Nedeljkovic has looked really good this year, and Jari, who's probably starting tonight, has also looked pretty good. So it's tough to like really love any of the Sabre props, but going the other way, I mean, you just don't have a ton of value. I don't believe on Pittsburgh at all today. So
no. Yeah, how's Jack Quinn faring? I feel like he's not shooting enough for me to really want to jump, but I want him to shoot
1.5. His line is 1.5 today,
yeah.
Which, I mean, the line has been so productive that I think it's largely just a factor of, Cousins and Peterka just kind of, like, I don't think you can expect this shot share between those 3 guys to remain this way going forward. So Quinn feels like a fine, like the Pittsburgh depth has been far better than, say, Montreal's depth. So I don't really think that's a reason to target it. But the Sabres line has been, very good at driving territorial play. And Quinn just, like he's clearly the prototype of a guy who should take the shots on that line. So getting him at 1.5 feels like a bargain.
Yeah, minus 180 on Quinn. Dahlin's shooting an absolute metric ton right now, 8 attempts per game. That's pretty good. Gensel's back into being Jake Gensel. We have missed him, but I think I go a bit safer, especially in a larger slip. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Am I going to get off this Tage minus 140, though? That seems like something I'm just not going to get off of. We have that minus, 200 on puck luck? I mean, that's a pretty large gap, and I don't know how he dropped further. I get it, though. I mean, the second line's been good, and Pittsburgh's good, but it reaches a point. Like, is Tage Thompson one of the best players in the league? If the answer is yes, this is an egregious line. If it's, well, maybe we were wrong last year, then it's probably still a little bit off. Okay. Matt
and
Jay,
Pittsburgh,
do you want to make a final decision? Tage minus 140.
I like the Tage call with Pittsburgh because it's in Pittsburgh. They try and match up Crosby against that line. It's not exactly a shutdown kind of line to go against them. So I do kind of like that first line to have some success for the Sabres today.
Moods?
No, I agree. It's traded chances all year long.
Okay. We have 7 bets in. The first game's about to kick off. And by kick off, I mean puck drop. I would never, ever disrespect the better sport like that. My bad. Has anyone ever said that about a football game, like about to have football drop? Okay. I'm going to stop before I say something else stupid. We're going to go over to the Toronto game. They're playing a team that everyone's afraid of, San Jose Sharks, mainly because the name. The Sharks are scary. God. I don't know. Just fucking pick whoever you want. The Sharks are absolute dog water. I probably just going to take Morgan Riley for a point. I am mad. Minus 160. I don't know. I still think whatever. This game's
the Austin The Austin Matthews point line is better than the William Nylander one. It's -110 on Nylander to get over 1.5, and it's +110 on Matthews. That's interesting. I mean, Nylander's clearly like a very dominant playmaker and goal scorer in his own right. But I mean, Austin Matthews is Austin Matthews. Like I don't really see anything that tells me Nylander's more likely to pick up multiple points. Interested to see what Jay has down here.
Yeah, +112 for Austin to get 2 or more points. Nylander +127. So, I mean, it definitely favors Matthews. Nylander's been creating a lot on his own this year, but when you have Matthews and Marner together, it's hard not to like a point against the Sharks or 2 points against the Sharks,
Yeah, we don't have Toronto's goalie because this is a 4:00 start in San Jose.
Martin Jones is confirmed.
Oh, he is. Okay.
He was yesterday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yesterday. Okay. So so you probably didn't see it in the rundown of today's news.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Revenge narrative and whatnot. All right.
Yeah. They only have that
Gregor revenge narrative.
That's shit. There you go.
We've unlocked the $1 billion slip. It just gets falling right into place. Okay. Yeah. You know what? I'm in. Austin Matthews for 2 points plus money. Screw it. I like every line in this game is nuked to oblivion. I cannot in good conscience. Like I'm gonna bet one of these shot props and they're gonna score 5 goals. And instead of I think either way, even if this game is competitive, let's just go down that rabbit hole. Like let's just readjust the sim that this game is gonna be 2-2. Like Austin Matthews is on the ice. He's the one that's getting. It's just like there's so many ways
Austin
that
Matthews
I can get to Austin
scored.
Matthews.
Austin Matthews scored the 2 goals, so you're already there.
Right. -130. I truly don't hate it. I mean, whatever. Like you could even just do that if you'd like, but he plays with a lot of gifted playmakers, and on the power play, I don't know. Yeah, they want him to score, but again, it could be anyone. Like the puck's moving through him, so I think you're just adding a little bit of added non-tilt factor if he doesn't score by going points. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Anything on the Sharks? You know what? Before I just any Shark thing, Shark related objects. No,
because the only thing with the Sharks I would say is the over on saves, but I don't trust their goalie to stay in the game, so I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to look. We got 5 minutes. Trying to put 1 12-legger in here in the next 5 minutes. So I was just pulling up the slate back-to-back for Carolina. That's their name. I guess I'm at least a little bit interested in this -166 on Robert Thomas. I think I also could be intrigued by +150 on Torrey Krug. That's maybe not quite parlayable, but there's still no Falk, right? I mean,
no Falk.
He didn't play last game. So
right.
That's interesting. Carolina props have been pretty shattered here in this matchup on a back-to-back. Yeah, I get it. Like the shot volume might not be great, but the entire offense is going through one line right now. And Thomas Buchnevich and Kyrou. I like Buchnevich just fine, but Thomas is the guy. That is their best player, I think, pretty unequivocally. Anything else on the Blues, and then anything that's been standing out with the Carolina Hurricanes, who I left for hockey and they were down 2-1, I think, and they won 6-2. So anything on them? Those knuckleheads?
They won 11-7. They won 11-7 last night. Didn't matter because Brent Burns still absolutely erupted. But with Tony DeAngelo in the lineup, they did use Brent Burns on the power play 1. So, I'm trying to load freaking Hockey Viz and just nothing's loading somehow. I can talk on
what do you want, buddy?
Web stream. I want to see what the minutes look like. Did Tony DeAngelo just play 4 minutes?
Or Tony DeAngelo. It was last night. Is it gonna let me? I'm not logged in. Oh, we're good. We're good. Here you go, my friend. 4 minutes.
He didn't. Yeah.
He played 4 minutes. Jesus Christ. Okay, so yeah, that doesn't matter, but that's good for the forwards. I mean, Jarvis technically not playing with Aho Svechnikov, but he's going to kill penalties with Aho. He's going to be on the power play. So yeah, Jarvis makes sense. Svechnikov, lock and load type of guy, but Torrey Krug is where I'm leaning as well, just because I'm a long-term buyer in Torrey Krug. Without Justin Falk, that means it's only safer for minutes and everything else. So,
and keep an eye out who's in net for St. Louis, just for the prop bet of saves. Go over on St. Louis's goalie, and you could go under on Ranta tonight. Those are both solid plays.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds good. I did 112, like, because of course, does this ever happen to you guys when you try to, like, you load all the bets and then you're not logged in, and then you log in and it just gets rid of the opportunity to round robin, and you have to like change things in the slip to make it work? Does that ever happen to you?
Mm-hmm.
Did that even make sense? Like, do you get what I mean by that? Wait, what?
Call me right now, please, is the follow.
Oh, you're quoting the best show of all time. Okay, I got you.
Yes.
All right, let's move on. I added Robert Thomas. I'm going to post a quick tweet. You might miss the first game. We have 1 minute. It was, Igor. What do we got? Preds Stars. I feel like this is like a perfect. And first off, it's a 6.5. There could be goals here. It's like, on one hand, I feel like it's super obvious where the points and the goals and all that garbage is going to come through, and on the other team, it's like, and this is Nashville, of course, and then on the Stars, like, I still debate it like every single day, like, who is the best Stars line? And it's becoming the Jason Robertson line again, but a little bit more ambiguity there. With that being said, like, I think Forsberg minus 195 is totally justifiable for a safer bet, which is what I just threw in the slip. Yeah. Anything else? You guys talk for a second. I'm trying to make a tweet and talk at the same time, and I'm like not probably making that much sense.
I'm still trying. Yeah, go ahead, Moods.
I mean, Miro Heiskanen week to week means we're looking at Thomas Harley season. Unfortunately, he's not listed for anything but plus 450 for a goal. Actually, you can get minus 160 over 1.5 blocks. I want to see like what they actually deploy their decor as before I invest in that sort of a number. But in terms of DFS, I think Thomas Harley is a really, really good option. You're projecting him to fill the Heiskanen role, and Jay, clearly we've had these wars before, but I don't think Heiskanen's anything special in terms of a fantasy producer. So I think you can take Harley's like better like. His 5-on-5 involvement has been great all year long. You pile on top of that the number one power play unit, and I think that's a really exciting way to save at least $1,000. The difference between Harley and Heiskanen over on like the DraftKings DFS stuff. But it's Harley season. I'm so excited for it, and the Robertson line is rounding right into form just in time for Harley season.
I agree with the Harley take. My only concern is, like, do you have any? Was it confirmed that he's going to be power play 1? Because I mean, they've used Nils Lundkvist before on the power play, so I'd just be weary of how quick, even if he is announced to be on that first unit, how quick they pull the trigger on Lundkvist if things don't work out right away. But yeah, I mean, they should just hand the reins to Harley and let him go.
Okay, hold on. My Twitter just loaded. Okay. Stars will go with a 5 forward look on the first power play unit. Rupe Hintz will play the Miro role.
Interesting.
Okay. Who?
Sagan then, or Duchesne?
They didn't.
Sagan.
They didn't say.
Yeah.
How do you say that and not? Okay.
3, 4.
Yes.
My guess is Sagan because he's the right-handed shot.
Duchesne is. Yeah, right. Okay. If it's Sagan, my God, 575. Wait, who said it? Which guy did you see?
I can scroll back down.
Some of them actually answer me.
It was
one of them. I think one of the guys follows me.
It was Bruce
Gurionov recalled too. We have revenge narrative.
Yeah, for Nashville.
Preds. Yeah.
Yep. Gurionov, Sissons, Parsonen.
But yeah. Of course, no lineup changes. Will lead first power play unit. Yeah, why? Like, Obviously, you were making still in the first power play. Like, what do you mean, Leah? Okay. All
As
right.
we
I'm
all
going to read through
desperately
this
search
garbage
for
now
this
for a while.
information.
Because I'm
It-
jamming. I mean, it's not Mike Johnson. What?
Yeah, no, like you'll know if Seguin is on the bold predictions today for power play point, it's because he's on that first line, that first unit. So that I'll keep an eye out on that and see if anyone reports it. But it's got it. I would think it's Seguin just because he's the right-handed shot on the opposite side of Robertson. It would just make sense.
You're veering too far
That's the other
into
girl.
team watches the games, Jay. Yeah, so
Oh,
reel it
sorry.
back a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. I'm going off his underlying power play production on the second
Thank you.
unit.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get any lines for Guryanov, and I believe he's also not on the DraftKings slate. But if he's minimum salary, I still prefer like Brennan Hoffman. But Guryanov is the sort of player who will be offensively tilted. So like when he shows up again and he's on a slate, like you can at least take a look at his lines and stuff to see if they're just priced like a normal fourth liner. Because he's he's way worse than a fourth liner defensively, and he's far better than that offensively. So just keep an eye out there. But yeah, fun little revenge spot for an all-time favorite of mine, Guryanov.
Okay. All right. I'm also asking right now. So hopefully by the end of this show, I'll get an answer. I got someone else that was at practice if they knew. Okay. We'll see if I have any pull with my name in this industry, which is no. So we're probably not going to get an answer. Lot there. Interesting game. Again, I like Forsberg nonetheless. Like I still like Forsberg minus 195 for a safe bet. And I think if you're getting a little bit risky, don't even just wait until we find out who's on this first power play if possible, because they become a good value regardless right here as well. Just like the added role of the power play with Duchesne, Seguin being so good together. I'm not Marshall's not going to be there. So yeah, I like that a lot as well on the other side. And there's no Harley props because everyone's a coward. So Ottawa to go to bed. First, the Edmonton Oilers. This is the highest total on the slate. Let's start there. 7 over under with a favor on that over 7. People are saying goals could be had. People are also saying that Ottawa has no players that are going to get a point. They're just all priced way down. Even Stutzel at minus 180, like it's not my favorite, but like that is the guy that Ottawa like that. What are we thinking here? Are we thinking that line is garbage? That 7, which I think is my first inkling, is that's a little bit aggressive. But let's even assume Vegas is even close to right. Like Ottawa's going to score a goal here. I mean, am I crazy to think this Ottawa point props are somewhere you want to go? Matt?
Edmonton is an absolute wagon.
Bueller.
Just
take
Edmonton.
The thing you don't realize, like Ottawa plays a wide open style, right? They're up and down the ice. They're giving up goals all over the place, but they can score. So your theory on that end's right, but Edmonton has been really like limiting shots. So I don't quite think they're going to get as much offense as you're alluding to.
She liked my tweet when I said it's taken on the first power play. I mean, it is. I said, is the power play hints Jay Rob Pavelski, Ben Sagan? And then she liked it.
There you go.
Okay. That's good enough for me. I'm gonna give it one more minute, but that'll be good enough for me to put a bet in. I'm a degenerate. Okay. Sorry, back on track.
Like McDavid is otherworldly.
I'm gonna give myself.
So like the Hyman, Nugent Hopkins stuff is fine. I mean, 1 point, it's a low line, but like yeah, that's where I would go. I don't think I'm betting the under 7 because I have no faith in either Ottawa or Edmonton to, not just spring a leak. But I really think that Edmonton could just go absolutely bonkers on this Ottawa team. I mean, yeah, Ottawa's just not it. Edmonton is playing so well right now. So
it's crazy when Connor McDavid's listed at minus 120 for over 1.5 points. Like it's they're implying their version of the even money, bet on him getting 2 points.
So as far as shots go, Evan Bouchard has been shooting a decent clip. Now he's a defenseman, so that's uh, problematic as far as turning those shot attempts into shots on goal. But if you're looking for something that's in the shots realm, I think that's better than Zach Hyman at 3.5 something. So that's my lean, but I really think I would just go Hyman point and move on, because minus 190 for a guy who McDavid has been spoon feeding all season long is really something, I think.
Yeah, that's a solid play. And also anything Oilers power play related is good. I mean, Ottawa's penalty kill is terrible. I think it was worse in the league last time I checked. So obviously you're facing one of the most historic power play units in NHL history, right? And so Hyman again, he doesn't touch the puck a whole lot on that power play, but he's the finisher in front of the net. So maybe you go there at plus 230 for a power play point. Everyone else is listed kind of appropriately. Nugent Hopkins, maybe if you like him at plus 190, but it's definitely a route you could take in this game for sure.
Yeah. And DFS wise, Nugent Hopkins has been just productive enough, 5,700. I think if you can't afford Hyman, Nuge is a perfectly acceptable way to stack McDavid. All three of them going to be tough to come by. There's value out there to do it, but Hyman was sort of dominating the touches and the shots earlier on, and he's still taking his fair share, certainly more than Nugent Hopkins. But the pricing difference now of $2,200 between the two means that I think Nugent Hopkins is of a similar ilk to hit his ceiling for the price tag, which means I'm fine going there and just a 2-man stack or something. But yeah, McDavid's what makes this team go. How are you feeling about Warren Fogle there, Jay? I know this line of McLeod, Draisaitl, Fogle has been quite productive. Fogle profiles to be the shooter there. At 5-on-5, Draisaitl's not necessarily the dominator of shots, and obviously Ryan McLeod is there to pass first. So Warren Fogle, where does he profile in your stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, let's see. I have his projected goals 0.21, so that's plus 237. Point odds at plus 112, which is pretty solid. Obviously, his role is helping dictate that. But you're right in his profile, he does profile as a shooter. Is he getting the? Well, it doesn't really matter. They don't play their second unit. I was going to ask if he was getting power play time, but it really does not matter. So really, it is dependent on that 5-on-5. But I mean, some of his comps this year, just in his style of play, it's very favorable. I mean, I'm just looking at it now. There's you'd like Eric Holla, who you'd expect, but Nikushkin's listed, Gensel's listed, Crosby's listed, just in his style of play. So some of his attributes kind of match that profile. Not saying he's on that level. He doesn't perform quite as well as those players, obviously, but when you put him with elite players like Draisaitl, that shows he can kind of get some unexpected production for you.
Yeah. It's hard. So I think that's more important, because there are some states where you can build same game parlays of a line. So take a point prop for Draisaitl, for Fogle, for McLeod. You can actually correlate those in some states. Now I don't think you would. I mean, I guess you could do it for the top line as well. But I can't do it to model what it would look like, but I imagine that those odds would be pretty solid. And again, that 5-on-5 line has been playing very, very well. And Fogle has that 5-point game in his game log that certainly helps him out averages wise. But I do think that the odds of him hitting are somewhat high in this spot. I mean, Ottawa's just a dead team walking at this point. They brought in the coach to play defensive hockey, and it hasn't worked. So
yeah, and they like Fogle because, I mean, one, obviously he's a volume shooter. Let me see, 97th percentile in shooting in the NHL, just his rate stats. And then he also draws a lot of penalties. So I mean, obviously that helps when you have a top of the league power play. So yeah, I mean, they have no problem putting him on the ice at 5-on-5.
All right, DJ, can we move on to the last game?
DJ's still trying to get that Dallas power play news.
I have absolutely no idea what he's doing, but it's honestly nice because there's such a delay when DJ's talking that like it's so painful to try and have a conversation.
So next week, just me and Moods, right? We're cutting DJ out.
Yeah, exactly.
I realized that, and that's why I muted myself for a little bit there and kind of let you guys go while I look through and start building some slips so I can post, so I can keep the people happy. All right, this is what we do here. Last game is the Islanders and the Vegas Golden Knights. This was the second lowest total on the slate. Now the lowest, as the other game has already dropped. Vegas, little favorite. This is, I think, the end of a long Islanders road trip. So I'm going to pass it right back over to Matt, and I'm going to shut up for a minute and continue to build $1 million slips.
Can you share my screen for a second, because I find this to be really interesting. So when you're looking at the slate, there's a lot of. By the way, this is in the Morning Skate Pod Discord. DM one of us if you want to get in there. But so when you look at the slate, there's a lot of these red sort of expected goal index numbers. But Vegas and the Islanders are two of the top 5 teams on the night, and that's because both teams have been relatively poor defensively. The Islanders have been pretty up tempo going both ways, offensive and defensive. But I was sort of thinking, oh well, whatever, goaltending, you look at the goals against numbers over the last 10 games. These are adjusted for opponents, so I'm not sure what the raw numbers look like. But the Islanders are certainly giving up their fair share of goals, and Vegas is getting absolutely crushed by goaltending. I don't know the status of Aiden Hill, so if he's back, that could change things. But in general, the over-under of 6, I think this is a game that I do like the over on. It's rare that we see the second lowest total of the night have literally the highest expected goals pace and a solid goal pace. It's not the best, but it's still pretty solid. And you could bet on some regression. Vegas historically has been a good system for goalies, and obviously the Islanders have Sorokin and Varlamov, one of the most fearsome duos in the league. But so far that hasn't helped over the stretch. The fact that it's a long road trip for the Islanders certainly doesn't hurt either. So give me all the spots here. I will throw it back to the actual book though.
Yeah, so I mean, I do kind of like the over on the goals. Let's see, I have it projected at 6.21, but the books are starting to lean that way, it looks like. So it just seems like Vegas has been sleepwalking through their last however many games. I don't know if it's just because of Thompson and Ned, or I don't know. It's been weird. They've obviously suffered some injuries on the back end, and it's been costing their team. But they really need to get Shea Theodore back
desperately. So I think I'm sticking to the high end guys here. Brock Nelson stands out. He's been minus 135 for a point. He's he's been their trigger man on the power play. Upson still is chugging along. I would have no problem going with him. He's certainly making his case to be, in that 3rd to 4th in the Norris ballots on the year. But I think if you like Dobson, he's better off just over on, the DraftKings slate, because he's going to be unowned. He's quite expensive, but he's the rare guy who mixes in a ton of shots and blocks and points. So that's where I prefer to make that bet. So I think just give me Brock Nelson, but I would have no problem with Jonathan Marchessault, assuming that he sticks with Eichel. They're priced similarly. I think Eichel's, he's in a bit of a dry spell himself. So, going Marchessault, who's shooting a bunch, I kind of lean that way. But yeah, anything else specific here, Jay?
No, I agree with you on the Nelson thing. He's kind of been their focal point of their offense and power play. So that was the first guy that popped to my mind when thinking about props for the Islanders.
All right.
Vegas. Okay. Quick Vegas. It was Marchessault, Eichel, and Barbashev. They had, as you can see from this, if you can, focus in enough, that power play bar is not normal. They had an unbelievable amount of power play run against Florida. That game got pretty out of hand as far as penalties were concerned. I don't expect that to continue, but that's sort of why the 5-on-5 numbers for Eichel and Marchessault went down a little bit. But it's not they still played a lot. And again, I think Marchessault minus 175 is totally fine. Other than that, Marchessault for shots, that was the other thing. Or even Pietrangelo for shots. I could be convinced either way on them. Marchessault 3.5 minus 120 is a little bit tough to stomach, but not terrible. I think Pietrangelo is also pretty good on the other side. And you already made the point for Brock Nelson. I totally agree. Point, shots, etc. So I think for your safest bet in the entire game, kind of like looking in a vacuum, I still kind of lean Marchessault for a point. But yeah, any thoughts on that on Vegas in general?
I think you just repeated what we were saying, so I think we're good to
Really?
go.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's we were saying good things about the players you were saying good things about, so nothing to reiterate.
Yeah. Well, I was reiterating some of it, but I wanted to, I just like to show my work because I don't watch the games either. I just look at the math. Okay.
This isn't the math. These are the pictures. This is a picture book, DJ.
Well, I can't read, so therefore,
yeah.
Yeah, just me and where's Waldo. That's all I can really stomach. So yeah, Marchessault, Pietrangelo, Brock Nelson, the boys. A lot of bets. I'm just gonna start posting things. Bunch of bets, bunch of stuff. Hockey all day, football all night. I'll call Mike Tomlin, wish him luck. Anything else from you guys? Any questions, comments, concerns? I mean, we were asked about Thomas Harley being better than Miro. Matt, you did say those words.
I don't think I did.
Do you wanna?
No, Thomas Harley, I think, is a more offensively slanted player than Miro is. Miro's an excellent player, but Harley, I think, has more like theoretical upside just because we haven't seen him in this type of a role yet, which he doesn't have because Tyler Seguin is taking that role. Well, technically, Rupe Hintz is. So it's really all neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk goalies. What about him?
Talk about goalies.
St. Louis goalie. There you go. Next question.
Yeah. I mean, I you know what? Why don't we just top stack guaranteed goals? But let's just not even stick to like much of a script. But yeah, goalies. Here you go. You want to talk goalies?
Want the St. Louis goalie tonight.
There you go. This is the goalie talk right here. You go to this website. You go to this link, and all the goalie talk is done for you. Yeah, UPL bug. I mean, God, yes, finally. UPL. Honestly, I think UPL is fine. I think that it's
Pittsburgh has been shooting a lot.
They've been shooting a ton.
Yeah. So and it's a lot of it's empty calorie shots. So they have been very good to play a goalie against. I'm not sure what I haven't seen his price. But I mean, UPL is a solid play. Got
to be low, yeah. Binnington, UPL are probably GPP-ish. Matt, you think any ownership comes in on? I'm guessing Binnington, yes.
Yes, Binnington for sure.
Yeah,
I honestly think Vegas Islanders get some ownership too, which I don't want the goalies there as we discussed. So yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, you want the ownership in that game. You want the ownership to lean toward that game, and you fade it because that is not the play.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Good goalie talk. Top stacks, guarantee a few goals. Why don't we all just pick two guys that Matt? What?
I want to go watch. I want to watch the St. John's Villanova game, and we're already a half hour over. So
yeah, all right. We're gonna be quick. We're just gonna rattle them off. Jay, you get to go first. Congratulations. What are your two top stacks?
I don't have any. How's that? That's not my specialty.
Okay, Matt, let's go Edmonton
stacks?
Because Edmonton 1 is insane. Just keep it up. And yeah, I'm trying to think of a more mid-tier type option. Let's go Pittsburgh 1. I mean, Raquel is still 4,400. It's just an egregious price tag. Just this has to stop. Like, we need to price Raquel up, so keep playing him until he's not 4K. It's just absurd.
I very much agree with the Edmonton 1 take. I would say that's right up there with me. I think I'm going to go with Vancouver 2, if you want to call it that, although I consider it Vancouver 1, and maybe even consider putting in Pius Suter with JT and Besser. And then if I could squeeze in any Edmonton, which again, I'm not getting the whole thing in that situation at all, but maybe just McDavid, and then going with like some value in New York and some value in Buffalo again with like, here. That's kind of my build perspective.
I
Guaranteed
think a good
goals,
cheap.
Matt.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, what?
Well,
No,
I was
no,
just
no,
going to
you
add
go,
in.
you
I
go.
think
Yeah,
a good cheap stack might be in Columbus. I don't know which one you want to do, but I mean, there's definitely some bargain players. So find one of those lines, and that might work too.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Guarantee. But why don't you just all do one guarantee goal or two?
Sure. I mean, guaranteed goal singular.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't even. I'm trying to think of something spicy, but
You already gave it. I was letting you have your guy if you wanted him. If you don't want him, I'll just take him for you.
Go ahead.
Did you want Othman or no? Othman? How do you say his name? Why am I blanking?
Yeah, I mean he's
Brandon.
2,500. So
Otherman?
that
Is it
no, just Othman, like Mike Hoffman without the H.
just Othman?
Othman.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had it right the first time.
Um,
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I mean, a guaranteed goal, sure, a guaranteed goal. If we're going in that ilk, I mean, just keep playing Jack Quinn until the stuff like turns. I mean, again, the line is playing excellent hockey. Their 5-on-5 numbers are just as stellar as they were last year. I get the matchups not perfect, but there's not a ton of great matchups on this slate. So, I think Buffalo's an okay way, especially at their DFS price tags. That second line, even the first line, like they're just really affordable. So
super affordable. The one thing Pittsburgh does on their PK is they do that stupid put one player out right next to Tage Thompson on the power play the whole time. So if they get that second, I know the second unit's been playing a lot too lately, so maybe they do that to Jack Quinn too. But I mean that unit's more apt to move around and try some different things. And you're not completely power play reliant with those guys, so it's still good. It's just they do that dumb penalty kill thing.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, DraftKings will not let me put in a bet that gets over $250,000 in value, so I was readjusting again. You know what? I was thinking Stamkos myself. I might stick with that just because of the odds on that. He's plus 170. That just seems kind of stupid. Boston's not very good defensively. I don't really get it. So I'll go with Stamkos.
I dig it. DJ with the hot takes out here. Boston not very good defensively, but no, I understand what you mean. They're trending in the wrong direction for sure.
Mm-hmm. And then Jay, you want to finish it with a goal? With a goal, are you taking Danforth to just taking him to the bank?
I was very, very, very much considering Danforth, but I think I might go with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's not
okay.
He's not who you'd expect to be, the shooter out of the studs on Edmonton, but I feel like today I have his projected goals higher than Zach Hyman. So he's just the way things project. I mean, it's plus 180 on DraftKings, so
that's pretty good. Yeah. I'm gonna add these. I added these three to the mix. I'm trying to make it $5 into, I guess, 250,000. That's my goal right now. And picking through a bunch of things that are good value, including Tyler Seguin for a power play point. And if he's out in the first power play, I blame Leah. Anything else from anyone else? Or let's get out of here and go watch, I guess, college basketball. Sounds like fun.
On Fox.
Yeah,
I mean, it's literally on
I have
Fox.
a Sabres game to
it has
cover
to be
tonight,
good. It's on Fox. So, you can go watch. But DJ, you can watch some real basketball instead of your,
St. Bonaventure does play tonight. Thank you for reminding me. They are at Richmond. So thank you.
Those are two very cute schools. They're very
Dude,
adorable.
I will not
hope
enter
they
this
all have
conversation. Bonaventure, I'm just going to say one thing, and then we've gone way off the rails. But yesterday, a quote came out.
Get us on the screen. Get us on the screen.
Get what?
Our ugly mugs.
What do you think? Oh, you're right. Yeah, I took us off because I couldn't read what you had. This one. Oh, this one. Yeah, no, on the I think it was like a Notre Dame interview with their former coach, and because he like quit like mid-season, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know exactly. And they like asked like what happened. He's like, we went to New York City. We played a game against St. Bonaventure. They beat the absolute crap out of us, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And I was like, yeah, it's like we got a coach to quit. There was at USB Arena where the Islanders play, and Notre Dame just got absolutely smacked last year by us. And I guess their coach was like, I'm done. I'm no longer coaching. So we are a real school, and we make real coaches quit. I'll send you guys a link. I'm sure you want to hear more, and I'll call Mike Tomlin and let him know as well.
Well, I'm a Niagara University alum, so I can't really talk that much about basketball.
Yeah, we went into what I would consider a middle school gym and beat the absolute crap out of them. Oh boy, that gym has just got some work done. Has everyone left yet? Are we still here?
Zach, I'm with you on Cousins. He's back
Yeah.
somehow, like a phoenix from the ashes.
Cousins I 100% agree. Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that's a really good way to get exposure to some of those. I mean, this slate does feel like you're spending up for one of your stacks. So where are you going to go from there? I think actually like Levi, Quinn, Cousins isn't like a dumb idea. Not Levi, because it's UPL. Don't play Levi. He won't get you any points, which sometimes can be better than getting negative, as I've learned throughout my years playing DFS.
Right. See you guys. I'm out.
Bye, everyone. See ya.
Take care.
Later.